Hey everybody, I'm Mark, also known as Pop-Up.
And I'm Riley.
And we are here to teach you about fine dining. Right, don't you love fine dining?
Yes, very much.
I know I do. And isn't it amazing sometimes that fine dining, the food just tastes amazing?
Very true.
It looks beautiful.
Very beautiful.
The problem is how do you cook fine dining without going to cooking school? And so you know what, Ryan? Why don't we do some fine dining and teach these wonderful folks how to do fine dining, yet keep it simple.
Well, what are we going to make then?
Today we're going to make an osso buco.
A what?
Osso buco actually means bone with a hole. So let me ask you this. If I said, would you like to come on over? I'd like to make you some bone with a hole. Does that sound like fine dining?
It doesn't sound appetizing.
Not at all. So one of the first things we learn with fine dining is how to make fancy names out of everyday items. We're going to have the osso buco with a red wine reduction. Doesn't that sound better?
Yes.
Absolutely. And we're going to make some pasta go with it. Now we could go down to the store and we go down in grocery store and pick up some pasta. Yeah, that'd be okay. But what do you say?
Make it?
I like your thinking. So today, why don't we make some pasta and we'll show the people how it's not that tough. However, when somebody comes over your house and you say, I made this pasta from scratch. Sounds great.
Sounds
amazing.
Awesome.
You ready?
Very true.
We got to start off with the pasta? Let's go. Come on. All right, Riley. Let's start over with some pasta. Now, often we think that pasta can be incredibly difficult, and what it is, it's really fairly simple. There's only a few ingredients involved in this, but remember today, we're making a special one. We're making a wild mushroom fettuccine. So, we got to start off with the flour.
Okay. How much?
1 3/4 cup, please. Now, tell the people what you told me about flour as you're doing this.
With flour, when you measure it, it's good to have like air in the cup. So use a spoon to put it in, and then you want it to be heaping over because you're going to take a knife and the side without like the sharp end and level it out so it's exact.
Got it. So that's
Here's
more.
1 cup.
And if you'll place that right down over there for me, that'd be great. So while you're doing the other 3/4, I just want to tell everybody that we did a very good job of cleaning off this counter first beforehand, and we washed our hands extremely well beforehand, did we not?
I used a lot of soap.
And almost too much soap. So what we're going to do is, starting off here, go ahead, is we're going to make ourselves a little bowl. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to get the eggs and get ready to put the eggs in here. If you would be so kind as to get ready, we're going to need 1 1/2 teaspoon of olive oil, please. That'd be great. No yolk. Okay, so for those of you, it's just simply, you're just going back and forth. If you've never done this before, you're really just getting rid of those whites just so you can have just the yolk, and that is it. So we're going to go with the same thing, back and forth.
Okay, so there's 1 1/2 teaspoons.
Beautiful.
Make sure not to just get the yolk out of the last egg.
That's right.
You're not going to be able to get that white back.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
And it's so easy to do. You get busy and just moving along, getting a little roll here. And we probably don't want any shell in there either. I'm guessing nobody wants shell in it.
Okay, don't take the white out.
Thank you. Now you can go ahead and get rid of that now. Okay, and we start bringing in a little bit more flour at a time. And we start playing with it. Okay, and start bringing in a little bit more at a time. And what we eventually want to end up with
The dough.
is the dough, which is nice and sticky and gooey.
You're leaking.
Oh no, it's leaking out.
It's a volcano.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a volcano.
It does. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and so
It's
we will
getting
just keep
thicker.
working it and working it. Okay, so you want to go ahead and work that up there for us? Just keep on working that together. And we're going to keep
thicker.
working this together. We'll be right back with you. This is going to take, just so you know, once we all is worked together, then we need to knead it. So we'll be back with you in about 2 or 3 minutes as this works in together. Be right back. All right, so what we're doing is we just kept pushing this together, pushing it together till we end up a consistency kind of like
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I like it. Just like Play-Doh. And we're going to use just about a 1/4 cup or so.
Very
Okay.
thin.
Very finely chopped that we did. And we're just going to introduce that into here. And that's good. Now the rest of the time now, for the next 4 to 5 minutes, we're just going to keep going back and forth and kneading this. And kneading it and kneading it and kneading it back and forth. Now, what we're ultimately going to do, and we're going to come back to them, is we're trying to get to the point where it snaps back. See how that doesn't snap back?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
It just stays right there. So here we go. We'll be right back with you. We're going to keep working here. All right, we have been kneading this for a couple minutes, and it feels great. I mean, this thing is, if we had 2 more, I'd juggle with it. Feel that thing. Does that feel great?
Yes, it does.
Now, let's do that little test. Go ahead, pull. And see that come back? See it come back? Look at it. Look at it come back. We know it's ready. Now, this needs to sit for 30 minutes to an hour. Preferably an hour, but no less than 30 minutes we get away with. But we need to cover it because we do not want that drying out. So we are going to take some plastic, and we are going to cover this up really, really well. So, better to have too much than not enough.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. We do not want to have any leakage, any way, shape, or form. You know what? This kneading, you know what's needed more than this?
Plastic wrap.
No, my love for you. I need your love. Oh no, that was corny. There we go.
It's
We've
really
got it
good.
all ready. Let's move on to the Osso Buco while this is
Bone
doing
with
its
a
thing.
hole.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, Riley, we've got our pasta sitting there in 30 minutes to 60 minutes. Be ready. So let's get our Osso Buco up and going here. We're going to get that nice and hot to sear. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in there as well, just because butter
Everything's
goes
better with butter.
You got it. You got that right.
Everything's better
All right.
with butter.
So we're going to sear that up a little bit, and in that same pan, we're going to make the sauce that's going to go with it. A little flour on the outside of it, right? Just so we can brown it up a little bit nicer here. Okay?
Yeah, that's going to work a lot better than dipping in that little plate.
You got it. Does that pretty much get it all? Did I get it all? Good enough?
Yes, good enough.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Hear that popping?
Yes, I don't want to get
We are just about ready to go. So let's go ahead. Let's sear this up. Oh yeah, hear that sound? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so while that's going, we're going to start getting ready for, when we're done all this, we're going to take that back out again, and in the same pan, we're going to make the sauce. So to make the sauce, we're going to start off with a Mirepoix. What's a Mirepoix?
onions,
Onion,
celery,
carrot,
and carrots.
and carrot. Now we could say, remember we're doing fine dining, we could say we're making it with onion, carrot, celery. But we got to use all these fancy words.
It's like we're making bone with a hole. With
Bone with-
onions, carrots, and celery.
That doesn't sound very fancy. This is true. Remember, we didn't go to culinary school. We're just simple people making it look fancy.
True, but you should know what onions are.
That's true. All right. So in addition to that, so we'll get that cooking up. I like to put a little bit more into that. So what we're going to do is in that bag that we're going to put into the sous vide with this is this mix. So we're going to add some beef stock,
Yeah.
red wine, garlic. Oh, everything's better with garlic
Yes.
and
See
butter.
how pretty that is?
Isn't that beautiful? And a bay leaf. We'll need a bay leaf in there. And we're going to add some fresh thyme. And we don't want to set off the smoke detector. So let's go ahead and bring that temperature, that flame down just a little bit. We'll take this off. We'll set that off to the side.
Is that low?
Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Juices. Let's get started now. With a Mirepoix. Looking good?
Maybe a dance with
Now,
that.
you can mix this up, or as long as you get a pan that's similar to this, it's got that little edge into it.
Okay.
Now's a good time to practice this move, and that is you're going to take it up to the edge and then flip it back again, okay? So it's going to take it up the edge and flip it back, okay? Going back to a medium high. Beautiful. And we're going to add wine. some red wine. Remember, people, the rule of thumb is when you're doing red wine and cooking, you only want to use wine that's good enough that you would drink. We need as much time as we can. Huh, especially when you get older, you need all the time you can get. Okay, so when we've got all this beautiful yumminess. Now that's going to cook inside of this bag with this lamb shank for 24 hours, and the juices are really going to come together. And then when we take this out, we will strain the juices back off again. Strain it so we get the juice out. So remember, we got all these big pieces right here, and we threw that whole piece of thyme in there?
Yeah.
It's okay, because we're going to strain that out later.
Did you forget the garlic?
I did. Oh my goodness. We can't forget the garlic. You know what? Garlic and this goes together kind of like peanut butter goes with jelly.
Like Batman goes with Robin.
Oh, that's good. Absolutely. We got to have that garlic in there. Okay, so I think we got to mix it together. And that, in that next day, that's going to cook together very nicely. You can go ahead and turn that heat off.
Yeah.
Now we need to put this all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this, we're going to grab our little bag. And let me show you a little trick on this. If you curl this back a little bit.
A cooking bag.
You got it. That's exactly it. Okay, we start off now with our shank in here.
Bye-bye, Shank.
Boom. Now we're going to have to very carefully put this in here. Now that gets tricky. All right, that is just nice and loaded with all that yummy goodiness stuff, right?
Yum.
See there?
Yes.
Okay. Now can you imagine that cooking for 24 hours? The flavors are going to come out of that, and we're about to try that.
Okay.
So let me show you a trick. If you will grab this and put that next to the table next to you, and we're going to seal this up. If you don't have one of these, people, there is another way you can do this. You can put this in a Ziploc bag, right, and try and get as much of the air out of it as you possibly can.
Did you know the water will take all the air out? Yeah, if you leave it open and you slowly set it in.
That's brilliant.
And
We're going to drop it in here and put it up to 172 degrees
for 24 hours.
for 24 hours.
Do we really have to wait that long?
I know. You know what? Just so happened that yesterday we made one. All right, Rye, we're ready to make our pasta. You ready?
Yes.
Let's do this. Okay, now we're going to use this pasta machine. Now, if you don't have a pasta machine, we can still make pasta at home. Did you know that? You don't have to have a pasta machine to make pasta. Remember, this is supposed to be keeping it simple, right?
Okay.
Okay. So what we need is a rolling pin. Do you have a rolling pin?
No.
I do. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to roll this out. Now, if you're doing this at home, you can roll this nice and flat, and then with linguine, you could just sit there and cut lines. They won't not be perfectly straight, but they're going to look good enough, and you can get away with it, right? But we're going to go ahead and use our fancy-dancy little machine here and take advantage of that. Look at that. Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? Now, I'm going to flip it over doing this just because it tends to see right there stick, so if you do it too much. Now you can put flour, obviously put flour down there too. But this consistency of this right now is pretty easy to work with. See how because we kneaded it as long as we did and we let it sit, it's pretty easy to work with. Okay? Okay, so now we've got a nice and long piece here. I think that's good enough for right now. We're going to take a line and cut it down, and we're going to work with just half of it first.
Let's make sure this doesn't fall out again.
I know. You ready to switch sides?
Nope.
Okay, now we've got it set up at the lowest setting or the widest setting just to get started on this, okay? Let's go ahead and turn that the other way.
Other way.
Here we go. We're going to bring it in and start flattening it out. Okay, hold on to that. Now we need to make that. Does that look like fettuccine to you?
Looks like a giant one.
One gigantic fettuccine. Who wants one gigantic fettuccine? Anybody?
Me!
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that, people. That is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to just put it out here so it's easier to dry and to work with.
Okay.
Let's take the next piece and let's do this all over again. You ready?
Down the runway.
it. Keep right on going.
Look at that. Crazy. Stop.
Yeah. Right there. Okay, so now we need to make our sauce, Osso Buco, and then we'll bring it all together. We'll be right back with you again. All right, Riley. Now, that whole thing about making a pasta, we just basically had a few little ingredients of which we'll put on for these people, right?
Okay.
Give them. We just mixed it together a little bit, and then we kneaded it, then we let it sit for a little while, and then we spread it out and cut it into little pieces. Oh, look at that, doesn't it? Oh, smell. Oh, you know what?
We need a smelling TV.
I know. They can't smell it.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, that's sad. It's so sad because this smells amazing. You ready for the secret ingredient? White truffle oil. Shh, don't tell them. White truffle oil. Now, it doesn't take necessarily a whole lot of this, okay?
Okay.
So if you think about it, here's a good rule of thumb. If you're going to do a tablespoon of olive oil, then a teaspoon of this. Or basically, maybe a little bit less than that. So we are going to do maybe a teaspoonful. This is a half a tablespoon there. So we're going to do a teaspoonful of white truffle oil. It has a lot of flavor to it and just a little bit of oil.
That's cool.
Oh, it smells great. You want to smell it? Got all sorts of flavors going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're bringing that up to temperature. Now we're going to spice this up. We're going to add a little bit of the crushed thyme. Ooh, see how that's starting to bubble now? Okay, so we got a little bit of our thyme. Okay.
Pop in.
We've got a little bit more of our mushrooms that we have, right? Our chopped mushrooms in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're got sun-dried tomatoes.
Sun-dried tomatoes.
All right. Now that's looking good. We're going to just bring that up to temperature. We're ready to put our pasta in there now. That's into a nice boil. So let's bring our pasta over there. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Wasn't that fun to make?
We have a straggler.
Oh, we don't want to strain it. We're going to hit it with just a little bit of salt and pepper and heavy cream. And we don't want a cream sauce. We're not going to put too much in there. We're going to put enough there just to add a little body to it. So, okay, so a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. You know what? Pop loves pepper, so just a little extra pepper. That's the beauty about cooking, is you can put your own personal flavor and touch to it. Okay? Now, we're going to hit it with just a little bit of this cream.
Okay. Heavy whipping cream.
You like heavy whipping cream?
Hey, look, you have a salted nail.
I do. Okay. Just enough to add a little bit of texture to
Like
it.
a tablespoon?
Yeah, about a tablespoon. That's great. And then finally, we're going to finish it off with... Every sauce is better with...
Butter!
Butter. Probably about 2 tablespoons of butter there. Okay. Now, that milk, we do not want that. We just want a nice little simmer once we've put that cream in there. Okay. We'll be back. We're going to let this simmer for about 3 more minutes. We'll be right back with you. We'll bring it all together, and we'll be able to eat this wonderful dinner. Right back. All right, let's check our sauces now. We are just about ready to put this all together, so let's have a little taste here. And,
I think I need salt.
Just a little bit? Great. Just a little bit. And there we go. And you know what? Pop loves this pepper. I think it needs pepper. And you know what? This needs a little bit more pepper too.
Okay.
All right. So we are just about ready. Now let's go ahead and putting this all together. What we're going to do is that pasta we made, right? We're just going to throw it in here.
Okay.
We're going to take our sauce that we made, right?
Okay.
Oh, doesn't that look beautiful? Right?
Smells
We're going to
good
put it there. Okay? And you go ahead and, if you would be so kind as to toss that up. We've got that ready to go. Okay, so now while you're doing that, earlier, what we didn't show the people is before we had them come over our house, we blanched some beautiful asparagus.
So like quickly boiling.
That's correct. How did we do it?
So, did you put salt in the water?
Yes. But they've already been blanched. I'm just going to heat them up while you're telling the people how we blanched
So we
it.
put salt and water together, and when you put it to a boil, and we drop the asparagus in after cutting off the tips
Yes?
and washing them.
Yep.
And then We let them, since they were thicker asparagus, we let them cook for 1 to 2 minutes.
That's correct. They were really thin, maybe just only a minute, and then immediately hit it with
Cold water.
cold water to stop the cooking. So all I'm doing is now is bringing it up to temperature again, just to get a little bit when I'd be nice and warm. That is looking absolutely gorgeous. We've got this ready to go.
Smells good too.
Here we go. It's showtime. Let's put it all together and make it look beautiful for our guests. So we got our plate.
We need a plate.
Remember, it's all got to look absolutely gorgeous. Put
Yummy.
some of this beautiful pasta in here. Look at that. Is that gorgeous?
That looks delicious.
Isn't that amazing? So the bone looks absolutely beautiful, and that's part of the Osso Buco, because what does Osso Buco mean?
Bone with a hole.
Bone with a hole! Okay, so it's looking great so far.
It's really pretty.
Isn't that beautiful? What we're going to do this is I'm going to take just the tips. Okay, got this off to the side. Now, watch this. We're going to shave, right?
Shave it. What? It's really pretty.
Isn't that beautiful? That tastes great. We don't need much of it, just a little bit.
It's really pretty.
Beautiful.
Really pretty color. Don't want to touch your food.
Okay. Now, with that,
Okay.
here we go. Put this in here.
It's pretty.
Now, finally, with our sauce, a beautiful brown sauce on it. Not much, it's just over the top.
Some of those leftover.
This looks beautiful now as it is. A little bit of microgreens. These are just, you can buy them at different stores, find them with the different stores. And just a little bit, you want a little bit of color on top.
Pretty.
Okay? Not much, right? It's just to accent it and make it look beautiful. And then a lot of people love, even though this pasta is fantastic just as it is, they may want a little Parmesan cheese. You can put that on the table, right? Or if you can get these little individual containers, you can put it on right next to it, either way. But that
Wow.
is Osso Buco with Wild Mushroom Fettuccine, asparagus tips, and with a red wine reduction. Yum. Enjoy. Thank you very much. And this has been Fine Dining Made Simple by Mark, also known as Pop Pop.
And Riley.
Thank you. Have a good day. You ready?
Yes. I want food. Can we put the cheese on it?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to. This just looks absolutely amazing.
That's so good.
Oh, look how tender it is. Look at that. It just falls apart.
Don't waste it.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, now the pasta. Gotta try that pasta and that sauce. I wonder if it tastes the truffle oil in it.
That was so good.